it's me, Danny. Welcome back to my channel. Today, I thought I would give you a tour in my home of all my houseplants. Now, a lot of you who are familiar with my channel might have remembered me doing things in the garden, whether it's tending my apple trees or my cucumber plants. And I would consider myself more of like an outside gardener, dealing with like issues with the soil and the rain and the pests. But I also have a lot of houseplants, a lot of plants that are inside. And so I thought what I would do is give you sort of like a realistic tour of all the plants that I have here. Plants that are thriving, plants that could use some help, but also I could show you all the cool plants I have and what I'm really excited about going on indoors as opposed to outdoors. So follow me along. So the first plant on our tour is my Monstera deliciosa plant, which is also called the Swiss cheese plant because it has a lot of holes in it. And it's native to Florida. It's a tropical plant. So growing it here in the Northeast, where it gets really hot, but then cold, and then dry with all of our radiators that we have here in the city, it's sort of a struggle, but it's doing pretty well. And a friend of mine who moved to Paris gave this to us. So we've been taking care of it and just closely monitoring it. I think generally it's enjoying being closer to a window, because I think when he had it, it was sort of in a railroad apartment in the middle without a really strong light source. So it's been growing quite a lot, and a lot of new offshoots, little baby leaves that yet to have holes in them. But yeah, this is the first plant on our tour, the Monstera deliciosa. Next up on our tour are these plants that I have set up sort of near the window, near the TV, in one of these IKEA stacker things, which I might actually customize a bit. I sort of don't like that it looks like all the typical IKEA furniture. I might spray paint it black or something later on. But what you see here is we have our split leaf philodendron. It looks a lot sort of like a staghorn fern. In fact, I think I first thought that's what it was when we got it, but it's a philodendron. Below it, we have a pencil tree. Now this I got when it was really, really tiny, and I put it in this really cute ceramic planter, which looks sort of like a lunch bag, like a brown paper bag. It's just sort of cinched, but it's hard ceramic, and it's doing really well. Pencil trees are native to Africa, so I'm sure it wishes there were a lot more heat, but it seems to be doing pretty well. And then below that, we have this plant, which is often mistook for aloe, but it's an ox tongue. And I believe it's called like a lawyer ox tongue. I'm not really sure why. And it has these really, really beautiful leaves that have like stripes, almost like tiger stripes. And to the right of that stacker, I've got a bunch of other plants. Down here, I have a little baby rubber tree. A friend of mine took a clipping from their plant off the top because it was getting too tall. And it grew roots. They put it in a pot and gave it to us. Really love these plants. I really enjoy the shape of the leaves and the sort of like matte, sort of shiny quality. Behind it, I have two different birds of paradise plants, tropical. I believe Los Angeles has named it their native or their state plant, even though it's not native to Los Angeles, but they're really beautiful. And then behind it, back here, I have a corn plant or corn tree, and unlike the other plants, this one's not doing too well either. I'm not sure why. Maybe it has too much light or too much water or not enough water, so I'm gonna keep trying to figure out what this plant needs to thrive, and then we'll come back and see if it's doing better. And down here, I have a really, really large ZZ plant, also called an emerald palm, and it has these really beautiful, glossy, high glossy, bright green leaves, which is where it gets the name emerald from. and it's incredibly easy to take care of, which is why it's quite popular. You can see here it's sort of farther away from the window, so it's not getting a ton of light, but it's still really, really thriving. You just have to keep track of its watering, and it's good to go. And now we're in my kitchen, and as you can see, I have a couple of plants near the sink. It's really nice to have plants near the sink because you're wet already. It's really easy to water them. You'll also see in my bathroom, I keep plants near the bathtub as well. But yeah, I have another emerald palm, another ZZ plant right here. It's doing really well. In the front, I have a corn plant. And then back here in a pot by Areaware, I have a bird's nest fern, which is this really nice lighter shade of green. And here's one that I'm super proud of. It is a very large fiddle leaf fig tree that, once again, a friend of mine named Ben, who moved to France, he had it growing in his apartment with a little window in the middle of the railroad apartment. And it was just shocking how tall it got, considering it had very little light. And I was a little bit worried when we brought it over here to our place near our windows right here. I thought maybe it'd be shocked if it had too much light all of a sudden. Fiddle leaf fig trees can be very finicky. If you move them too much, if you change the lighting or you change the watering too much, they really like to sort of have a routine. Yeah, much to my surprise, it's done incredibly well. I had to cut off a little bit from the top because it was touching the ceiling. And I also wanted it to branch out more in the middle. So you can do that at home as well. If you have a plant that's growing too tall, you can cut the rising stem or the leading stem, and it'll fill out more in the sides. The clipping that I took from the top of this fiddle leaf fig tree, I soaked in water until it formed roots, and then I was able to make that into another plant, which I have upstairs in our closet. So that's pretty cool. And then near the window, right here, I have a little, sort of like an open air terrarium. I'm not even sure you can call it that, but I have jade plant, which I'm sort of trying to train into being a bonsai. So I'm trying to trim it and make it sort of a miniature. And then on either side of it, you'll see some aloe. The other thing, and this is an experiment, is I got some sphagnum moss as like a top dressing, and also to make it look more terrarium-ish, to make it look more sort of like a little world. And there's also some Irish moss, and you can see it right here. And the Irish moss seems to be doing really well, but the sphagnum moss is dying. I think if you don't water or mist your sphagnum moss every day, it just becomes brown. So I think I was a little bit overly ambitious in what I wanted to get out of it. This is living near the window, and it adds like a nice little moment of interest. And then at the top of the stairs, there's this really beautiful Australian umbrella tree. Now, I didn't know that's what it was called. I was just walking my dog down the street. I walked past a bodega and I saw this amazing plant. Usually at bodegas you see like a jade or like a cactus or some cut flowers to give to somebody. But there was this gigantic umbrella tree, and it was just speaking to me. You guys in the plant community know how this goes when a plant is just like, adopt me, take me home. So that's what this tree did. It has these really large, beautiful tongue-shaped leaves that droop downwards, which is where it gets its name, an umbrella tree, because it sort of slopes down like an umbrella does. And I guess it's native to Australia because it's called an Australian umbrella tree. The leaves are a little bit dusty. I need to find a way to clean the leaves more efficiently instead of going in manually with like a paper towel and wiping them all down. So if you guys have any advice, let me know in the comment section, but it's doing really well. We have a skylight up here, so it's getting really a lot of lovely daylight, and it's in a really cute pot. The pot company is called Mama Pots. They have some really beautiful pots with like, you know, pops of color, which is really nice. And here we are in my closet or my dressing area, which is really, really bright because there's a skylight and we can keep a lot of nice plants here. The first plant I'm going to show you is the clipping I took from the top of that really tall fiddle leaf fig tree. Here it is. It's in a really beautiful pot by Helen Levy. She's an amazing ceramicist in Queens, New York. Really beautiful glazes. I wish I had more of her pots, but they're very expensive. And yeah, the fiddle leaf fig tree is doing really well. Another ZZ plant or emerald fern growing right here. Again, looking a little dusty. I need to do a better job at cleaning the dust off of the leaves. So let me know what you do. And then let me swing you around and show you. So here in our bathroom, I put some plants to the side of the shower because they get a light misting of water. And for a while, we had a lot of water hitting the side of the tub here. And I just had this idea early one morning, like, hey, why don't I get a sort of like open air terrarium or something with fern and moss, you know, plants that like a lot of humidity and moisture. There's like a little fiddle leaf fig tree miniature, a little succulent, an aloe. There is a peppermites plant, which is really cool. It looks like lily pads. And then I have some more sphagnum moss and some Irish moss. Unlike downstairs, up here they're doing really well because they get watered every time we take a shower, which is like at least once or twice a day. And it's a really nice way to sort of catch the water that falls from the shower head. And then lastly, I thought I'd show you a little area in our bedroom under a window on a plant riser that I made from some scrap wood. We just have a bunch of cactuses and some succulent plants that get really lovely indirect light. Cactuses are doing really well. One of them survived a little bit of an accident during a moving from one apartment to another. You could see we tried to sort of give it a little bit of support so it can continue growing upright, but it had other things in mind. So it's heading sort of south and then back up. A little funky. Sometimes plants have other things in mind than what you want them to do, and that's fine. So this concludes my houseplant tour. I hope you enjoyed getting to know all of my plant family members. If you have any advice for the plants that maybe didn't look like they were thriving, please let me know in the comment section. What should I be doing? What am I doing wrong? But I also hope you enjoyed some of the ones that were thriving and doing really well. Like I said, I'm more of an outside gardener than an inside gardener, so I welcome any feedback. And maybe in a year we'll check back and we'll see how the plants have grown, and maybe we'll see if there's any new family members. So yeah, feel free to subscribe if you want to check back and see more videos like this. And if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and leave a comment. Thank you so much for joining me. Until next time, bye everybody.